Hare Krishna. So we continue our discussion about raising our children in Krishna consciousness. First we discussed the period of Kaumara, and we stressed that children should be raised in Krishna consciousness even before they are conceived. That means that we are really fixed in our devotional practices. And by this devotional consciousness, we will attract spiritual personalities in our life. Yes, because according to one's karma, the soul comes to different families, most proper for its development, his development. Yes, so if we are spiritually advanced or fixed in devotional service in our practices, even if we are not so advanced, then great souls will come into our family. And then we discussed that it's most important to know that mother is a first guru, and whatever mother says, whatever mother, however she behaves, and whatever she believes in, that goes most deep to her child. Whatever the child drinks with his or her mother's milk, that goes forever into our heart. It's very difficult to give up if it is not devotional service. Then maybe we can transcend it by great effort, and then it's not the part of our heart. It comes then from our intelligence. Of course, we should use intelligence even if the Krishna consciousness is in our heart, but it's much easier if Krishna consciousness is deeply in our heart from our mother's milk. Yes, so and we discussed that even in these years of Kaumara, that means from 0 to 5, we should establish authority. Because if we don't establish authority in these years, no way that we establish later. No one will care what we say later on. So, of course, we should allow children to play, to normally develop, to have their fun and so on. But everything should be connected to Krishna consciousness. And they should learn philosophy from earliest ages. They can understand, because they are intelligent beings, they can understand Srimad Bhagavatam. And they can understand philosophy, and they should have access to philosophy. Otherwise, they will just sentimentally accept Krishna consciousness for the time being, as long as they are not a little bit grown up. And if they don't have strong foundation in philosophy, when they're, I don't know, in beginning of teenage, then they will not accept Krishna consciousness anymore. They will consider it just a type of religion. But they should know that this is not the religion. This is Sanatana Dharma of every living entity. Yes. It's our eternal nature to be connected with the absolute truth, and to serve absolute truth. Serve the Lord. Yes. Regardless of the external religion. And we should know that children should know that every living entity is serving all the time, 24 hours a day, and serving the Lord, in fact, because the Lord is Advaya Gyan, is one. There's nothing outside of the Lord. So whatever we do, we serve the Lord. But as Krishna explains in 9th chapter of Bhagavata-dharma, this is avidipurvakam. Ye pyanya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvita. Tepimam eva kauntaya yajante vidipurvakam. Those who have other gods, that means, of course, even our body, if we serve our body, is our God. We consider it our God because we serve it all the time and are very careful to be very comfortable and so on. So if we serve other gods than Krishna, he says they serve only me, because everything is part of Krishna. Material energy is Krishna's energy. So if we are serving material energy, we serve only Krishna. But avidipurvakam, in the wrong way, without Krishna consciousness, but under the influence of illusion. So, therefore, this philosophy should be known to our children. They should know. And that means, of course, that we should also know the philosophy properly. Yes, and because this is the greatest service that we can render our children. Yes. So, and they should know this is good and this is not good. Although they don't have some strict schedule when they are young, from 0 to 5, but they should know this is good and this is not. This is right and this is not. You are allowed to do this. This is not allowed. And whatever your mother gives you to eat, this you should eat this. Not just sweets or anything. And this is the role of the father to establish this discipline. And the role of the mother is to be very affectionate to the whole family, to spread love, emotionally and physically with food and everything. Yes, this is really important. The role of the mother is extremely important. We can, if there is no mother, I said, our loving wife in the house is just crematorium. Yes, is empty shell. And as Shastras explain, if there is not a loving mother or wife at home, one should just leave the home, such a home, and go to the forest. Yes, so it's extremely important, the role of the mother. And then we discussed the age of pauganda, and especially for boys, this is the time of really strict upbringing, like we compared it to military training. Yes. It's not fashionable nowadays, but it is necessary. Because boys always want to check their boundaries, and they are quite intelligent, and they can learn really good if they have proper discipline. And in fact, they love discipline, even if they want to rebel in some way or another. But this is part of their nature. So, and father should be really, a very strong personality, very strong figure. This is his duty. Should be masculine, shouldn't be feminine. Uh, Mother should be feminine, and mother shouldn't be masculine. So, um, if the child grows up in such environment, then he's feeling loved and protected. Otherwise, no one really loves him because mother is too masculine. uh, and if she's too masculine, she would definitely want to have some worldly career outside. And father is not strong if he's too feminine, so he's not proper protector. So the child uh, feels lack of love and lack of protection, and so is complete mess. And we can see this in modern world. It's complete mess. No one knows what is his nature, what he should do, what is his duty as a father or a mother. And people think that if I provide a lot of money to my family, that is enough. But what is better, if I ask you, to give a child, I don't know, million euros per year or per month even, or that he has loving family and feel protected. And with this €1,000,000 per month, he's alone because father and mother work outside and they don't have time for him. What is better? What would child prefer? Family, loving family, of course. So even $1,000,000 cannot outweigh the loving environment. What to speak of few thousand? It's nothing. It's nothing. And even if the child has such a big room as this temple room of toys and different gadgets, but he doesn't feel loved and protected, his life is miserable. Miserable. And many children are completely miserable. They go crazy. And parents, to have peace from their children, they put them in front of the TV, or nowadays they give them smartphones or tablets to play with. And this is another crazy thing. So we will also discuss this. I'm convinced that these gadgets are not proper for children till the age of 15, the end of Kaisora period. Yes. Because they are highly addictive. They are highly addictive. Once I heard the lecture of Kadamba Karana Maharaj, and he said that he has disciples who text him every day something. And he said it would be much better for them to put away the phone completely and just chant and read. But he said that, but I don't tell them this because they wouldn't listen, because they are addicted. Because they are addicted. So if adult people get addicted from these phones and these electronic gadgets, what to speak of children? What to speak of children? So they become completely addicted to this, and they don't go out to play, and they just I and my wife, we offer help for those who don't learn very well, like tutoring also. And most of these children are completely addicted to these gadgets. And after half of an hour of learning something, these children become completely unrested. They miss their gadgets. They had to go to look something on these gadgets. So, first thing, how to teach children not to become addicted to these gadgets is that we shouldn't become addicted to these gadgets. If we are addicted to the gadgets and we don't allow children to play with them, then it's like those parents who smoke and forbid their children to smoke. And we know that many of these children start smoking because they see that their parents are getting pleasure from this, isn't it? At least they perceive in this way that they get pleasure from this. Yes, and as I explained many times, and I will repeat many times, that we are ananda mayo vyasat. We are pleasure-seeking living entities. We want pleasure. Whatever we do, whatever we think, whatever we say, is in fact searching for pleasure, if we know it or not. We want to be happy. We don't want to be miserable even for a fraction of a moment. If I ask you in percentage, Shri Prahlad Nisingha ki jai, in percentage, how much happiness do you want? It's a difficult question. 108%. 108. Unlimited, yes. And how much misery you want in percentage? 0. So, you see? So, whatever you do is in fact searching for pleasure, searching for happiness. And that you came here today, it's just to enrich your life, somehow or other, to have some higher quality of your existence. That means to taste some higher pleasure, isn't it? So, yes, we are pleasure-seeking living entities. And whatever example we give to our children, that I seek pleasure in this way, then children will naturally develop this kind of desires. It's not possible other way, because the parents are natural role models of their children, at least till the age of 10, 11. They're role models, and these impressions go extremely deep in our hearts from earliest childhood. And so we keep this frame of mind through all our life. Only by devotional service we can transcend it. No other way. But it's really hard task if something opposite of devotional service is in our heart. Yes, then it's not an easy path. It's simple but not easy. Yes. So, therefore, I'm stressing this all the time, that we should be really, really focused on devotional service. That we should have strict program ourselves, strict discipline. That we chant in the morning before our day starts. That we have different programs together. In the morning, Mangala Arati, Gaura Arati, that we listen to classes together, So we should do everything together. They should know our family is one unit. Whatever one does, everyone does. So, for example, if there is cleaning of the temple, that doesn't mean that only father or mother should go cleaning the temple. No, everyone in the family, even small children, they can go and clean the temple. We all go to clean the temple. Or if, I don't know what is the system here, but in our temple in Ljubljana, different disciple groups are preparing Sunday feast. They cook. So we always went together if our disciple group was cooking. Mother, father, and all 3 children. No excuse. Yes. Even very small children can help and cut the vegetables or clean something or bring something. No problem. So everyone should do what is necessary. Family should do things together. Yes, and then they are really connected. Then they are connected. Yes, and it's powerful. Then the family is powerful. And it's also beneficial, we didn't mention this so far, that there are more children than 1 or 2 or 3 even. Then everyone would feel some shelter in the family. If you imagine that you have 5 brothers, who will mess with you? No one will mess with you. If you have 5 brothers or 10 brothers, you're unconquerable. Therefore, the big families are not encouraged by the society, because such people cannot be easily manipulated, because they have strong foundation and they're not afraid. But people who don't have anyone to support them, they're always afraid, easily manipulated. So it's very beneficial to have strong family, big family, many children. Yes. For example, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, one of our most exalted acharyas, he had 15 children. One from his first wife, but she unfortunately died after she gave birth to the first son. And then with Bhagavati Devi, the second wife, he had 14 children. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Yes. And they were extremely strong personalities. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, for example, the lion guru. Yes, so it's beneficial. Then the family is very strong. No one can disturb such a family. Yes, no one has any power against this strong family. If you have 5 brothers, or even sisters, no problem. They are really strong. No one will mess with such a family. Yes, he had 10 sons with every wife and 1 daughter with every wife. And he has 16,108 wives. So no one would mess with Krishna. And those who tried, they end very bitterly. Of course, they were liberated, so they were fortunate to mess with Krishna, in a way. Yes, but not in the way they wanted to. Yes. So Now we will discuss this last period of childhood, Kaisora period. And in this time, we said in pauganda, from 5 to 10, especially for boys and also for girls, but especially for boys, it should be strict discipline. Strict discipline. And no fooling with parents. Whatever mother says is sacred. Whatever father says is sacred. And father and mother should support each other, not go against each other. And they should, if they have different opinions, they should discuss this privately, not in front of the children. After the age of 10, then we should slowly, because they're much older now, children, we should slowly, not all at once, release this strict discipline and give them the feeling that we really trust them more and more. Because they will feel proud of themselves if they trust it, and they will feel that they're trustworthy. But if they're crazy at this time, if they didn't have strict discipline before, you cannot trust them. and they will rebel more because they feel that you treat them like small children. Because you should treat them like small children before, when they really were small. Not now that they're half grown up. And if you treat them like small children when they're half grown up, they will rebel more. So you should treat them like children before, when they're really children. And give them strict principles and strict discipline and sadhana and philosophy and everything, the whole package. And when they are a little bit grown up, they should feel that you trust them more and more and more. For example, when my boys were, I think, 14 and 12, they were allowed to go, this was their idea, to go by bikes to some devotional camp 100 kilometers away from home. And this was in the time that there was no Google Maps or any GPS system. So they went on their own with bicycles, and they lost a few times their way, but finally they came to their destination after a few hours and very hungry. But this was a really good experience for them, and they understood, yes, my father and my mother trust me. They trust me. And then they become such children or teenagers that they are trusted. They become really strong personalities. And they should understand, yes, I'm responsible for my actions. Not that you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, and we try to enforce some authority in this age. We should, of course, advise them and tell them what is right and what is not right, and what is beneficial, what is not beneficial. We still have this role, but not in the same way as before, when we establish strong discipline. but with the message to the children, this is right and this is not right, but it's everything on you. Everything on you. You are the master of your destiny. Especially later on, when they're 14, 15, 16. And this is the transition to Nava Yovana. Yes. So it's really important because if we don't establish strong discipline before, then every parent is like this. Because if the parent sees that the child is going crazy and do nonsense stuff, then he'll try to correct the child, of course, because he loves the child. This is natural. Don't do this, you will destroy yourself. But if we didn't have authority in from 5 to 10, or even before, from 0 to 5, no one will listen to us. They will think you're an old guy, out of touch with reality. And because you have this system that no homeschooling is allowed. For example, in America, they discovered that homeschooling children are much more socialized than those who go to school. Because usually people think just the opposite, that those children who will go to school will be much more socialized than those who are homeschooled. But no, the opposite is true. And why? Because these children who are homeschooled are having association with all age groups, from children to teenagers to adults. And they normally communicate with all these age groups. But those who go to school, they associate only with their age. Not even 1 year younger or older, but just their age. And they create their subculture and have their ideas, what is good and what is not, of course, based on the TV and these phones and so on. And they create this subculture of theirs, and they are convinced that adults don't understand us. And of course, adults can see that these children don't understand them. And so this generation gap creates. If the children are homeschooled, there is no generation gap. Everyone understands each other and know perfectly what is right and what's not. But if this subculture creates of the same age group, then it's very difficult to. And therefore, I said that if this is the situation that children have to go to school, it's not possible to have homeschooling, then parents should devote more life with the children, more energy, that the children have clear idea what is good and what that they should have right perspective on everything they hear in school. Otherwise, they would accept, because it's natural for a small child to accept. If authority something speaks like a teacher, and in books it is written like this, it's natural to accept for a child. So parents should devote more time with children if the children go to school, not less. It's more time consuming than homeschooling. Otherwise, the children will have their modern ideas. It's not possible to go around this. Yes. So the community should be and family should be so much stronger. More emphasis on this, on proper understanding, proper relationship with children. Much more should be the relationship between parents and children if they are in school. Yes, that should be understood. And taken also in the community, like here you have at least strong community. It's very good. If we can imagine that we are devotees and we live alone in some big town, no devotees around. It's even more dangerous for children to go astray. Yes. So yes, and when they are 15 or 16, and so at least in Slovenia, in this time they go to high school. Children, they finish the primary schooling. So at that time, they're old enough to be completely responsible for their life. So if you want to go to school, okay, you go to school, but you should do your school properly. If you don't want to go to school, it's your choice. You don't need to go to school if you don't want to. But you should not space out and just do some nonsense. Then you should work and bring some money to the family. For example, this is not usual in the West, but it's interesting just to know. My eldest son, he's married and living in London, and he has many friends, devotional friends, devotees, and of course there are many Indian devotees, and his very good friend, who will be shortly his brother-in-law, in fact. He's 25 or 26 or something, but still he doesn't, and he goes to, he has a job, but still he hasn't his own money. He puts everything he earns into family budget. Yes, this is their system. You can, of course, if you need something, you can take and buy, but it's not your money, it's family's money. This is, of course, not usual here in the West. So, but something to think about. And he doesn't feel anything, he don't have any hard feelings. He doesn't have any hard feelings about this. Yes, he accepts it that this is normal, like this. Yes. Although he's a grown-up man and has his own job and so on. Yes. So I don't recommend to give children pocket money or something. Yes. Of course, they should have whatever they need, but they should understand that money should be earned. It's not just given. It's not given. Yes. And as Jayadvaita Maharaj last time said here during this Nrsimha Chaturdashi festival, the family should strive to live with their expenses as close to zero as possible. Yes, this is the system. Then you're free. If you spend too much, you are a slave. Then you have to have some credits and you should um, put a lot of work to just to maintain your 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 griha, your house and car, and many cars usually nowadays, and everything. Uh, you should be hardworking to provide for everything you desire, and your wife desires, and your children desire. So we should teach our children to live simply, and we should also live simply. This is our philosophy, Prabhupada said. Simple living, high thinking. Yes. So, because there are even devotional families that they change all their clothes once a year. They have perfectly good clothes, but they buy a new set of all the clothes and shoes and everything every year. So, of course, they have to work to afford this luxury. Yes. So yes, we should teach children to live simply. Simply. Yes, as simple as possible. As simple as possible. And therefore we should also live simply. As simple as possible. And then the life is so much easier if we are simple. For example, it's a crude example. It's much cheaper and simpler to travel with only one luggage, that you can take it on the plane. Really. And you have no complications, no waiting for your luggage, no lost luggages. Yes, it's so much simpler and less demanding for your brain. What will happen, and when will I get this, and where I should go to collect this. This is a simple example. Yes. So, but illustrates my point that we should live simply. Yes. Okay. Are there any questions or doubts?
Krishna, thank you very much, Prabhu. Yesterday, Shyamakunda Prabhu asked an interesting question about negotiation. That, of course, in Pauganda age, it's discipline and they're supposed to follow, no negotiations. And then you mentioned that in the Kaisora age, there is negotiation. So maybe you can say a few words how, like, as they're given more freedom, they give in negotiation. And one time I remember reading that, sometimes I heard from 15 onwards is Kaishora, but you said from 10 to 15. But in any case, the description was that at that point the parents are not anymore authority; they are more like friends.
Yes.
They are like they say honestly what they think, but they don't expect them to follow. And yeah, so negotiation would be also interesting.
Yes.
Connection.
As far as I can see these descriptions, Kaishora is from 10 to 15. And Krishna was also known as Kishora in Vrindavan. And then it's Nava Yavana. Yavana means young age. And Krishna is so attractive because he's eternally 15, 16, and he's a young adult, but there are some traces of childhood features in him. And so he's so sweet with this. He's not completely adult. Of course, he's not a child anymore, but has still some traits of childhood are seen, and so it's extremely charming. Yes. But he eternally stays in this Kaisora uh, stage. Yes. So as I explained, um, when they're a little bit grown up, they should be trusted, and that means that they can express their desires and their ideas. And if we completely disagree with these ideas, we should of course tell them, and this is not good, and explain them. And if we have authority from before, they will accept. But if they are not completely wrong ideas, we can discuss how these ideas can be implemented. For example, this idea to go with bicycles 100 kilometers away was on the edge. In fact, how to allow 14 and 12 years old children to go alone on such a long journey with bicycles. So, yes, but if they are disciplined before, then you can trust them at this age more than you would trust if they're not disciplined before. And this is really important for them to feel they're trusted. And they will become strong personalities, I said, if they're trusted when they're a little bit grown up in teenage. And then we become more and more friends with them. And then we are like older brother in some sense. Of course, we are much more experienced. We know what is good for them, but still, if we established authority in earliest childhood in Kaumara and then in Pauganda, then they still perceive us as an authority. But because we don't enforce this authority anymore, as in the age of Pauganda, when there should be strict discipline, then they accept it much easier, because they know you're not forcing them to do something, you trust them, and so you're friend with authority. Like experienced old brother, for example, and little more, of course, because you're a father. And mother should also, of course, for mothers is more difficult to switch to friendly relationship. Mother is always a mother, and when she calls her grown-up son when he's 40 years old, she is asking him, "Do you have your legs warm? Do you have enough to eat?" She's concerned with these motherly concerns for their children, even if they're grown up. So this is more role of a father to become a friendly figure to their children. And if he's strong personality, then he can also curb the mother when she wants to be too motherly, too protective, because mothers can still want to have to maintain this protective mood towards their children, even though they are grown up. So this is the duty of the father to curb this mother's mentality. Yes. And if the father is strong personality, the mother will understand, yes, my husband is right. I shouldn't be so overly protective for my grown-up children, in fact. Yes. Is this answers your question? Okay. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. I have many times seen that young people, when they, even if they're grown up in Krishna consciousness, there will be one point where Krishna put a challenge in front of them, and some of them really have some kind of struggle in their life, and some even go away for a while. And it seems like to me that Krishna want to see if they really join because out of their own free will, or if they just do it because the parents did it. So it's like observation what I had. I'm not sure, what to think about it. Maybe you have some idea about that. Because, for example, Amish people, they kick the youngsters, they kick them out of the community around 16 or something like that, and they're not allowed to come back for 2 years, I guess.
I think it is 18, isn't it?
Or 18, but you notice, and most of them they come back then, but they give them forcefully a freedom to experience what they otherwise would maybe a whole life regret to not have had. But most of them, they happily come back in the community and in the peaceful. So
Yes.
these two things, letting them go, letting them to have the experience, even if they run in a very painful, different way even than we taught them to do, and then that some of them maybe it seems like that Krishna puts them in circumstances where they have to join by their own.
Yes, exactly. That's why I said that they should have strict discipline from 5 to 10, and they have to have strong basis in philosophy, that they understand this is not religion, this is a Sanatana Dharma of every living entity, and they should feel love from their mothers, and then that means that they will be emotionally satisfied. They have this loving home, and they have strong father who is able to protect them in earliest childhood. And then they should be more and more trusted. And when they're grown up, they're completely trusted. And they should know you're responsible for your life. You're responsible for your life. We gave you this, but now you're completely responsible for your life. For example, my eldest son wanted to study in London when he was 18, the same age. And he went to London alone. We didn't have money to support him, so he had to support himself. He got this stipend for his studies in London, and he lived on his own, allowed to do whatever he wanted. We didn't have any authority over him during this age, but because of his upbringing, I believe, he associated only with devotees, and he helped very much in because in England they have this society, different societies in the university, and that students can join. And so he was leading KC Krishna Conscious Society, and was engaged in preaching. And Nitai was also allowed to do whatever he wanted, and the other son. Of course, we said to him, either you study or go to work. Not fooling around allowed if you're at home. But if you want to move out, you are free to do. We don't keep you here by force. And this should be understood for children. You're not kept here by force. You can do whatever you want. You were taught like this in your life, but it's your full responsibility. Your life is your full responsibility. They should know this. They should feel this, and that you trust them. They should feel trust. If they feel they're not trusted, they will rebel, I think. It's much more opportunity to rebellion if they're not feeling trusted. But of course, if you don't have strong discipline before, from 5 to 10, they cannot be trusted because they're foolish. Yes. And yes, they're stubborn in the wrong direction. They think they're the center of the universe, so they cannot be trusted. And if they don't feel trusted, they will be more foolish. And so it's a domino effect. So yes, that's why it's so important to teach them from the day they were conceived, or even before, as I explained, that we should be really sincere devotees, very disciplined devotees ourselves. If we are not, then good luck. Yes. Then it's more on good luck than on us. Yes. Is this okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anything else? Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. You mentioned about the screens, and that you until 15 probably the best, if possible, to avoid. And what about the Krishna conscious cartoons or some devotees, they have a regulated specific times they're allowed to look to screen, maybe half an hour a day or something. So what is your experience, or what is your suggestion?
It's easiest to avoid completely. If there is allowance for half an hour a day, that means that this is some kind of addiction and craving for this. About Krishna conscious cartoons and so on, if there is some event that all devotees come together and watch a cartoon, then it's okay. It's my opinion. Then it's some kind of festival. You understand? I remember on Padayatra, Slovenian Padayatra, one day, I don't know where they watched. All brahmacharis and Kalindi was and they watched Little Krishna, the cartoon. But this is not recommended to watch too much, even about Krishna. It's better to hear about Krishna. But we should, of course, take time to speak them about Krishna, to read them about Krishna, because there are very, very nice, even children books about Krishna. Yes, I remember Nitai. Really, I don't know if you know this. What's the Bhakta Musica? Have you seen this book? It's a small book about a mouse who was a devotee and dressed like a sannyasi, in fact. Um, and that he was really fixed up devotee and met a lion uh, in the meadows, and uh, he was fearless, and um, then lion was surprised that he's so fearless, and then he let him go because the mouse, he wanted to eat this mouse. Bhakta Musika. But uh, Bhakta Musika promised this lion, yes, if you let me go, I will help you in the future. And he was laughing. How can little mouse can help me, big strong lion? You're too crazy to be honored by me to eat you. So he let him go. And then he sometimes one time he got trapped in a trap, in some net of hunters, this lion, and he was roaring and then trying to get out of this net, but he couldn't, and this roaring was heard by Bhakta Musika, and he was running there and saved him because he gnawed through this net, uh, and released the lion, and the lion was so happy that he became a devotee too. So he really loved this book, and my point is that there are many such nice books for children, devotional books, and much they encourage your imagination much more than just cartoons. Everything is just seen there, but books are much better for intelligence. Yes, and to have creative imagination, which is very beneficial for a young age. Yes, please.
I can give my own experience that my parents, they wanted to regulate my time with the computer, and I always tried to secretly go and spend more time. So
Yes,
it's like
it's
it
addictive.
would be nicer to have some alternative which is nice
Yes,
than to have a little and then it just becomes more and more.
yes, and then this desire becomes stronger and stronger for these experiences.
And also, I remember that there was one devotee here once also. He gave a lecture, and it seems that he is a traveling preacher also. And he told that once he visited another devotee family, and they appeared as living in abject poverty. Like they had a small, I don't know where it was, maybe somewhere in the eastern world, and they had basically like a very small hut, and the child was sitting in there, and he saw the child, and he felt compassion because this child has nothing, and then he somehow they like met close, and then the child immediately told him, "I want to tell you about Prahlad." So I found that very striking that even a small, I mean, maybe not every child will be like this, but that particular child, he was absorbed in
Krishna Lila.
yes. So I found that very interesting to hear at that time.
Yes, exactly. If you'll give them Krishna, Krishna will come out from them. Krishna in, Krishna out. But if Maya in, Maya out. Yes. Of course, Krishna's Lila is not Maya, even if this cartoon. But we should also be careful who prepared these cartoons. If they're devotees, then they're acceptable. If they're not by devotees, it's explained by our acharyas, it's like milk touched by the snake. So it becomes poisonous. Yes, if they're not made by devotees, because they have materialistic ideas that they are conveyed through Krishna Lila. So the materialistic ideas will come to our heart, and we'll think that this is Krishna conscious. Yes, it's more dangerous than non-devotional things. Yes.
I know one example of this actually. When I was maybe a young teenager, there was one cartoon about Hanuman, and Hanuman was behaving like frivolous with women.
Oh yes.
In this cartoon, he was jumping in a car, and it's like Hanuman in modern times, something like that.
Uh-huh.
And I immediately knew this is bogus because I knew Hanuman is a brahmachari.
Yes.
He was he asked his mother to swallow a copin so he could be. So like I immediately recognized this is nonsense.
Yes. Yes.
Somebody who doesn't know, they might be confused.
Yes, and he gets confirmation. Yes, this is good behavior because Hanuman is behaving like this. You wanted to ask something?
Building up from his previous question, I'm thinking we may be able to, well, we want to try to avoid to give this interaction with digital kind of devices. But then imagine here in Germany, it's homeschooling is prohibited, so they have to go to school, and then they associate with peers that are using it much, and so they develop these cravings during this past thing. And so then they come home and they also want it, or they feel left out because the peers seems to have this enjoyment from this kind of device, and so how would you then deal with that?
Yes, it's much more difficult. As I said, then we should spend much more time with our children, because there will be many impressions which are completely crazy from their peers will come to them, and because they are social beings, it's natural to imbibe them. They're not stones. They're living entities with feelings and need for association. And if they associate with crazy people, these crazy ideas will go to them also. So we should spend much more time with them if they're exposed by the law to crazy people who are addicted to all kinds of things. For example, Nitai told me when he was homeschooled in Slovenia. It's allowed homeschooling till the end of the primary school. Then in high school, he went to school, but as I said before, at that time they're grown up practically, and his schoolmates. They couldn't believe that for New Year his father didn't get drunk. They accepted somehow or other that we are vegetarians, but we don't drink even on New Year's Eve. It's impossible. They thought that he makes a joke with them. Yes, it's something completely out of their mind. It's impossible for people not to drink alcohol. Yes, so if grown-up child goes in such an environment, this is not child anymore. Then he knows, he has some vivek, that means discrimination, what is good and what is not. But small child, we cannot expect to have this discrimination very much developed. So we should therefore spend more and more and more, much more time with them to get the right perspective. Yes, this is right and this is not right, and this is not right because of this and this and this, and you see the examples of this and this. So they should really know and understand. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanandi Hri Hri Bol. One more thing. We will have tomorrow morning the next class about this. I would like to ask you to prepare questions. So we will have questions and answers session. Okay? Yes. I think this is interesting theme. Many questions can arise. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanandi.